Hi everyone, greetings from VNR JYOTHI Institute of Engineering and Technology. This is Manohar Reddy, Department of Cybersecurity, Data Science and AADS. Today in this session we are going to discuss about file allocation methods. So file allocation methods are very important in the file management. So how we are going to allocate each and every file with the help of different methods we are going to discuss in this session. So first we have to understand what are the different types of files and what is meant by file management and what is meant by file manager. So what is meant by file? A file is a logical unit of storage on secondary storage device. Secondary storage device is nothing but your hard disk, internal hard disk, right? So where the files are exactly stored? The files are stored on your secondary storage device. So the logical unit which is stored on the secondary device is called as a file. And it is used to hold related data. The data may be having different formats, different way of techniques. So it holds the data such as programs or documents, whatever it may be. So all the programs contains the data as well as documents contains the data. So these all programs and documents which are named as a files. So it are named as a files. So files provide a way to organize information. So files are meant for organizing the data, organizing the information, and they are managed by the operating system through the file system. They are managed and organized by the file system. So files are keeping all the data, but the data keeping is not important. How your data is organized, and which handles operations like reading content from the file, writing content into the file, and creating number of files, number of copying files, number of duplicate files, and moving of the files. All these operations we are going to create, right? So key concepts including file attributes like there are different types of file attributes are there. So every file contain the first name, the file name, it should be very important. And next, file size is important, and file permissions. How many type of permissions? Whether it is readable permission, it is writable permission, whether it is editable permission, whatever it may be. All these permissions are available for this file. So these are all will be called as file attributes, and file operations will be reading of the content from the file, writing content into the file, and moving of the file, copying of the file, deleting of the file, opening of the file. All these comes under the operations of the file, and these are all various methods under accessing file data. So every file is having the data, but organization is important. Organizing the data is important. How your data is organized in the particular file. So because of that, there are different types of files. There are different types of files like text file, PDF file, video file, audio file, bitmap file, JPEG file, PNG file. All these whatever it may be, different types of files are available. All the variety of files are available, and each and every file contains the data, and how they are organizing is very important for the file. And these are all comes under the file management component. So file management is a component of operating system, and it is a process of managing all the activities of file. So all the activities of the file is nothing but how to create a file, how to manage the file, how to give the permissions of the file, how to creating directories, how to move files into the directories. All this comes under the activities of the process of managing. So these are all in operating system. To do this all, operating system creates a role called as file manager. For each and every component, operating system creates a role. That role is file manager, is the role or person who manages all the activities of the files and the directories. So creating the files, creating the directories, renaming the files, renaming the directories, deleting the files, deleting the directories, moving the files, moving the directories. Like this, all the different activities are done by this file manager, which is assigned by the operating system. So here the concept comes file allocation methods. So file allocation, how if you want to read a particular file from the secondary storage device, the file should be allocated first. Files should be allocated first. The whatever it may be, whatever the data we are going to write onto the secondary storage device, that has to be allocated on that particular storage device, we have to read it for the next level. So these are the file allocation methods. So allocation methods are nothing but how the files are stored in the disk blocks. So the disk blocks are nothing but secondary storage device, and how the files are stored, how the files are organized in the disk blocks. So how they are allocated. So based on that allocation only we are going to access that particular file. Based on that allocation only we are going to access that particular file. If the file is not allocated, if the file is not stored on the disk block, we cannot able to access the particular file. So because of that thing, file allocation is important. So file allocation, why file allocation is important? If file is not allocated on the particular disk, we cannot able to access the file. So to access the file, file allocation is important. File allocation is important. So how many allocation methods are there to access the file? So there are three types of allocation methods are there. First one is what? Contiguous allocation or sequential allocation. Contiguous allocation or sequential allocation. And the second one is what? Linked allocation. And third one is indexed allocation. So these are the three types of allocations. Basically the file is nothing but organizing the data. So how your files are allocated is the allocation method. So contiguous allocation is one, linked allocation and indexed allocation. So the main idea behind this method is to provide efficient disk space utilization. In the memory management, how the processes are utilizing that memory is important. In the same way here, the files are utilizing the disk space is important. So how this efficient disk space utilization is based on this file allocation methods, and fast access to the file blocks. So file allocation methods are meant for the efficient disk space utilization of the files, as well as to access the fast access of the file. So let us explain one by one. So first one is what? Contiguous allocation method. So in this scheme, each file occupies contiguous set of blocks in the disk. So a disk contains number of blocks. Like this. So how it is allocated? Each and every block. So it occupies contiguous set of blocks in the disk. Contiguous are nothing but a sequential blocks, continuous blocks. Contiguous are nothing but continuous or sequential blocks on the disk. That means one by one, continuously they are allocated. This means that given the starting block address and the length of the file, so we can give what block it will be started, and what is the length of the file size, to be allocated. So that the two things we have to give. So in terms of blocks we are required. So we can determine the blocks occupied by the file. The directory entry for a file with contiguous allocation contains addressing of a starting block, so addressing of the starting block, and length of allocated portions. That means if you are saying that the starting block is 1 and the length is 3, means it is allocated from starting 1 to the length 3. That means 1, 2, 3. This 3 will be the length of the allocated portion. So like the way continuous way the files to be allocated. So example, if a file requires n blocks and is given a block B as the starting location, then the blocks assigned to the file will be B, B plus 1, B plus 2, like that. So that means n equals to 1, then n plus 1, n plus 2, n plus 3, like that. It will be occupied each and every block. See, here this is the disk block, this is the disk, and each and every one will be called as disk block. So how these blocks will be called as? So here if you see this table, file table, the file A, there are 5 files are there, A, B, C, D, E, 5 files are there, and for each and every file, starting block and the length they are mentioned. starting block of the file and length they are mentioned. So if for file A, the starting block is what? 2. So starting block is what? 2 and the length is 3. That means length 3 blocks to be occupied by the file A. 3 blocks to be occupied by the file A. In the same way, second B, file B. So starting block is what? 9. So starting block is what? 9. And the length of the file is what? 5. That means it has to occupy 5 blocks. It has to occupy 5 blocks. Out of these 5 blocks, 9 is the starting block. So 9 to 5 length of the blocks. That means 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So because of this sequential manner, continuous manner, they are allocated continuously. They are allocated continuously one by one, one after one. So 9 to 13, 5 length of the file will be allocated. And next file C, the starting block is what? 18. So 18 will be the starting block and the length of this file C is what? 8. That means it has to occupy 8 blocks from the starting block 18. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That means total 8 blocks are occupied by this file C from the starting 18 block. So 18 block to 25 block it will be occupied. And remaining file D. So file D starting block is what? 30 and the length is 2. That means it has to occupy only 2 blocks. So 330 and 31. This is the file D. And file E, that is the starting block 26. And the length of the file is what? 3. That means it has to occupy 26, 27, 28. That means 3 blocks it has to occupy. So like the way sequential allocation works. Once the file is identified with the starting block and identified with the length, the file is to be continuously allocated in the disk. So here this is the disk and each and every one will be called as, each and every partition will be called as a disk block. So how the file is allocated, where the file is allocated means the files are allocated in the blocks. So file is allocated with the continuous manner or contiguous manner or sequential manner. So this is the way the continuous allocation works. So what are the advantages? So both the sequential and the direct access method. So you can call it as sequential or direct or continuous or contiguous are supported by this. For direct access, the address of kth block of the file which start at block B can easily be obtained by B plus K. Easily obtained by B plus K. So because of this sequential manner, sequential approach, it is a simple method and it is easy method also. And disadvantage is what? This method suffers from both internal and external fragmentation. So internal and external fragmentation is nothing but this remaining file sizes. That means the remaining blocks are get wasted. Remaining blocks are get wasted. And this makes it inefficient in terms of memory utilization or disk utilization. In terms of disk utilization, it was some inefficiency. So like that we can understand this advantage and disadvantage. See one more example how these files will be stored. So files are stored in continuous block. If you take an example, suppose the disk blocks are numbered 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. File A needs 3 blocks. That means A3 and blocks length starting block is 2 and block length is 3. So A block file A will be having the starting block 2 and the length of the file is 3 blocks. That means the disk contains the blocks, and each and every block, the file A contains starting block is what? 2, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now file A is starting block is what? 2. That means starting block is 2 and it is occupying 3 length. That means 2, 3, 4 are the 3 length of the file A. So how can we access? To access the second block of file, directly go to the second block. And access the file 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Like this we can able to access each and every file. So this is the way a continuous allocation works. In real time example, if you see in the book my show or any ticket related sites. If you want to book a seat, if you want to book a seat in the bus or in the movie theater, if you see that ticket booking seat, if it is available, you can able to access. And if you want to take booking for the next seat also, it is available. So if you give the count of 3, the 3 will be allocated continuously if it is available. If it is not available, it shows one from one row and another from another row and another from another row. So like the way the sequential access or sequential allocation works. So this exactly the Book My Show or any ticket websites or bus ticket websites are real-time examples for this continuous allocations. So this is the flowchart for the continuous allocation. If the file disk blocks are free or not, we'll check it first. If start get file request, find the continuous free space is available or not. If yes, allocate continuous blocks. If not, no, request is denied. If the disk space is not available, then the request is denied. Once if the continuous free space is free, then allocate the contiguous blocks, and the files are to be stored in the data block 1, block 2, block 3. So each and every one will be called as data blocks because the data is stored on that particular block. So this is the way of understanding this contiguous allocation. And the second one is linked allocation. In this scheme, each file is linked with the list of disk blocks. Each file is linked with the list of disk blocks. That means one block in continuous allocation or contiguous allocation, no block is individually linked with the another one. They are continuously allocated. Because of that continuous, there is no link, right? So but in the linked list of disk blocks, the link pointer will be allocated. And it is pointing to the next block, next disk block, which need not to be contiguous. The disk blocks can be scattered anywhere on the disk. So the disk blocks can be scattered anywhere. That may not be continuous. That can be scattered at any of the block. Any of the block it can be scattered. Suppose if it is scattered here and from here to here and from here to here and here to here, like that, it is scattered anywhere in the disk blocks. The directory entry contains a pointer to the starting and the ending of the file. So file starting block and file ending block, in between them the pointer moves from starting block of the data to the ending of block of the data. So each block contains a pointer to the next block occupied by the file. So the pointers are important here. The pointer is moving. Pointer is pointing each and every block from the starting block to the next block, and the next block to the next block to the end block. Like that, each and every blocks are identified, pointed by the pointers. Suppose take an example. The file zip in the following images shows how the blocks are randomly distributed. See this example. So in this file zip, the starting block is what? 9, and the ending block is what? 25. So in between them 9 to 25, how all the other blocks are identified, how the other blocks are pointed. So because of that, the starting block is what? 9. So from this starting block 9, it is pointed to the next block 20, the next block 16, next block 1, next block 10, next block 25, like that. It is pointed anywhere across all the disk blocks. Because of that only we are telling that it is a scattered way. It is scattered way and it is pointing any block of the disk. The only thing is what? Starting block and ending block it is pointed. So starting block is what here? The 9, and the ending block is what here? 25. So in between 9 to 25 you can able to pointing to the next blocks anywhere. So here it is pointing to the next blocks 20, then next blocks 16, next blocks 1, next blocks 10, next block, ending block 25. So like this, the pointer is having the role to pointing to the next block and the next block to next block till ending of the block. So all the blocks are getting pointed by the individual and previous blocks. The advantage is what? No external fragmentation, and it is easy to grow file size also. If you want to increase the file size, you can easy to grow the file size. And disadvantage is what? it is somewhat slowly random access. We can also call it as random access method, random allocation method, and it is slowly random access. If a pointer is lost, the file may break. So if the pointer for the file is missing, the file also file also could not be able to find. So this is why the pointer is important to pointing from the starting block to ending block through each and every block. So this is why pointer is important. Here the concept is same. The blocks are not continuous, we can say that. So in this example, the file B needs 4 blocks, and OS allocates 1 to 7 to 3 to 9. How it is allocating means, it is the starting block of the file is what? 1. So starting of the file is what? 1, and this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like this all blocks will be there. So out of these all the blocks, it is identified with the starting block 1, and with this starting block 1, it occupies 4 blocks. So how it occupies? So it occupies 1 to 7, then 7 to 3, then 7 3 to 9. So like that, a pointer is an important role. It is having to move forward to the next block for each and every disk block. So here, to reach that block 3, we need to go 1 to 7, 7 to 3, and 3 to 9 also if you want to go, right? So if you want take an example, real-time example, treasure hunt clue chain. So in this what will happen, if you want to go to the next stage, you have to complete the first clue. You have to complete the first stage, right? So if you complete the first stage only, then it will open for the stage 2. If it is completed stage 2, then go for the stage 3, clue 3. Like that, it is continuously pointing from the starting block to ending block. Like the way it is working. And here you can see the flowchart of the linked allocation. The starting of the file, and get file request, and find free blocks are available or not, and link blocks in a sequence. So link block in a sequence means, if after finding the free blocks, you can create a link block sequence with the scattered blocks, right? So once it is created, yes, then create a blockchain. If it is not there, then give the request, or request is denied. So once creating the blockchain, it is pointing to the each and every data block, 2, 3, 7, like that. It is pointing to each and every block. So this is the way we have to understand the linked allocation method. And you can use the below links for more data from about this sequential allocation or contiguous allocation, and linked allocation or random allocation. Use these following resources. Thank you.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.